3 teens were arrested today for defacing the Kensington Park War Memorial overnight. The destruction includes painted messages against the military and the war in the Middle East. The 3 teens were picked up in the early morning hours after evidence was left at the scene.
Grandpa, something wrong?
Some people sure have short memories, and those who are too young to know need to be taught. Come on, I want to show you guys something.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
At dawn on the morning of the 6th of June, 1944, 225 Rangers jumped off the British landing craft and ran to the bottom of these cliffs. 225 came here. After 2 days of fighting, only 90 could still bear arms. These are the boys of Pointe du Hope. These are the men who took the cliffs. These are the champions who helped free a continent. These are the heroes who helped end a war. You are men who in your, quote, lives fought for life and left the vivid air signed with your honor.
They paid a big price. We had a high casualty rate. It seemed to me that sometimes the people in my company and in my squad, they didn't last long. I mean, they was either killed or wounded, it seemed like that. But it wasn't that they were all was, but a lot of them were. Seemed like one way or the other, they never made it. I was wounded twice, and I was injured once, even more seriously than that. Just from that, it didn't hurt me that much. I think it got my attention. Let's see.
Rex Eads was a member of the 34th Infantry Division, a division that saw more action than any other division during World War II.
We had our regular rifle companies and our mortar companies and something like that. That's about it. And it was a high casualty outfit. We lost a lot of troops, a whole lot.
On September 25th, 1943, the 34th landed on the shores of Axis-controlled Italy at Salerno. This was over a year before the famed Normandy invasion. Over the next year, they would fight hardened German troops for every inch of ground in some of the most famous battles of the war, taking an 80% casualty rate in the infantry units.
So the German troops, they said, came out of the Balkan nations. They switched them down there right quick, and they whipped us pretty good. We were pinned down all the time. I lived in a hole day in and day out. We couldn't even get up in the daytime. If you did, you get killed. That's the way it was. They had all the high ground. They had you in their sights. The German army was the best army in the world. I mean, as far as training and discipline, they were good. And their weapons were superior to ours. Anything we had was any better than what they had was the old M1 rifle, which was the best. We lived with it and took care of it. They had better machine guns. And of course their artillery, the old 88 was famous. They used the 88s in their tanks and their artillery too. And I didn't have sense enough to be scared, I don't think. I was 18 years old. Couldn't confront a German tank. There was no way. The Sherman were just obsolete. They were obsolete on arrival. They really were. And we did have a TD-10 tank destroyer, which was 3-inch naval gun, as I called it, but it had no armor. It didn't even have a top on the turret. So yeah, so some of the guys, they build tops. The guys, you know, they just get them some metal and build a top for it. And the turret was wide open.
But the 34th did defeat the Germans.
Well, every day you were trying to survive. I mean, it's like every day I'm going to get killed. That's what it meant. I mean, that's the way it was about true, and it were. And we would get transferred around, like one company would be high casualty rate for a certain battle, and So I know I was transferred several times just to fill in for guys that had been killed. I was in K Company one day, L Company the next day, Able Company the next, just trying to survive. We knew the German lines were right there, and we was going right up through Bologna, with a large city, and it holds the highway that goes to the Po Valley. So it means it was going to be defended tough, because they had to have that road. I got a secondary road to take, and the first thing was to take a bridge. And we got up to the bridge, and the Germans, they blew the bridge, and it was laying. So we, instead of going to the bridge, because it was open, we went around it, and we used hand signals and waved on. There was no Germans. Went on through the place, not another bit of a resistance at all. We got into a small town going out, and the whole community was out applauding us. And some of them even constructed American flags as we came through. But here again, I thought the war was going up. And so we kept on going up there, and all of a sudden I saw the Germans marching down the line. They dropped their weapons and were leaving, and that stuck in my mind. They immediately took my squad to the Swiss border, and I got a picture I can show you. And that's where I learned the war was over from a Swiss officer. And so that all happened in one day. It all happened in one day. And I just couldn't believe the war was over.
The war ended, and Mr. Eads came home and used the GI Bill and lived his life here in Bristol. But like most combat soldiers, part of that war is still with him.
I think about it at times, and I think the one thing I think about, it makes maybe I'll tell you what it is. It was during almost the last of the war, and the things were going bad for the Germans in Germany, and my squad, I had to take them up on what's called a listening post. We got a place up there where we get up as close as we can to the German lines and listen. You can hear a lot. You can hear a tank moving. You can hear, once in a while you can hear a few German words. What we were trying to do, and we took a phone line. We actually pulled the line with us. And then we would tell the people back there what we hear. And so we went up there, walked straight up there. Every time we went up and do that, come back, nothing happened. Except one night, they told me to bring my squad back through the lines at another company where it was staffed on down the road a little bit. And I had the 16-year-old boy with me. And like I say, he reminded me of Beaver, like on Leave It to Beaver. Yeah, maybe it was that. And he stepped on a mine and killed him. And it blew me down on the ground, but I didn't know that it killed him. And I left him there, and that bothered me.
Mr. Eads is a good man, a humble man. When asked what he wanted future generations to think about on Veterans Day, his answer was simple.
Appreciate your soldier, because they deserve to be appreciated. The ones we got now do too. They're paying a hell of a price right now for it, more so than most people realize. And I appreciate them. And they die too, like everybody else. They just died a different war, a different way, in a different time. And I just think that we owe the soldier a whole lot, not because I was one, but there's a lot of them out there.
A few years ago, we were losing our World War II veterans at about 1,600 a day. Now that number has decreased substantially. They're almost all gone.
In the name of God and country, I learned to defy gravity.
To honor my family,
I lived in the belly of a beast.
I fixed the hearts of iron monsters.
I became a worm in the mud for dignity,
for honor,
for righteousness' sake,
for God and country.
I fought for you.
I fought for you.
For you.
I fought for you.
I fought for you.
I fought for you.
I fought for you.
For you.
For you.
For you.
For you.
I fought for you.
I fought for you. I fought for you, and I'd do it again.